Hello, 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 everybody. What's up? Oh my gosh, that's a lot of comments. Bruno, mainly. What is this? Okay, okay, there's a lot to take. A lot of good people in here. So, I changed, I like talking about some drama, and I think it's very important to who is Andy Warskii. You gotta get to know who he is. He hosts all the great debates that are going on. Okay, just gotta make sure you can hear me. Okay. Yeah, he yeah, so I just want to give my opinion. The main point of this show right today would be to talk about the drama. Um, so if you don't know who he is, I'll try to get. All right. So Andy Warskii is basically a Canadian guy who did a bunch of anti-SJW videos. I guess he's been on YouTube for 12 years. So I think he got into anti-SJW stuff, probably recently. Um, And so he just started doing these shows called Warskii Live. And the big one, the way I got introduced to him was through the Richard Spencer and Sargon debate. It was a huge one. It went viral, so to speak. It became like number one trending on YouTube, and that's how I found out from him. And since then, he's been hosting a lot of great debates, and he's brought on a lot of new people and stuff like that. Patriot for God, what's up? Um, okay, so basically, a lot of people who were like didn't have big channels now have a position to have big channels. Basically, there's a lot of people with high IQs that come onto the show and they debate really good topics like white nationalist stuff. Uh, the last one was theism. Um, uh, Race realism. There's a lot of good stuff that they do, um, and so that's the whole reason I watched the show. But recently, there has been this spat between the host, who's Andy Warskii, and the co-host, who is JF. He is a Frenchman. He has been on YouTube for a little while. He used to come on shows like The Drunken Peasants. He's also a biologist who used to teach at colleges. He is also quite a bit of a player in the way that he wanted to create a very polyamorous relationship with multiple women. And he's also, I believe, another libertarian nationalist like myself. And like I go on those shows. I really like listening to him. He's a very high IQ person. He's a biologist, and he's the kind of person that you want to listen to when it comes to all of these debates on like race realism, um, libertarian views, that kinds of things. I thought he got beat up on the theism debate, but you don't win them all. Plus, um, yeah, you don't win them all. I think he thought he was unstoppable, and he kind of ran into a wall on that one. But basically, been a spat between the host and the co-host, and it was over. Basically, JF was debating this guy named Jay on theism, and in the debate, JF was struggling. He got emotional, and he tried to cut in about something, and then JF said like, "Hey, shut up! You're low IQ'd." He said it was a joke, but let's be honest, we can all tell it wasn't a joke. He got angry and he took it out on Warskii, and Warskii didn't want to get cucked, so he got angry and kind of fired back. And ever since then, there's been this turmoil between the two. And from what I've heard, Warskii went on the Morning Kumite, which is another show that Warskii likes going on like all of the time. He goes on that show more so than on his own show, and he went on there to talk about the emotional troubles between him and his co-host, which isn't smart. I agree with Mr. Maneker, who is a guy who makes anti-SJW videos and Gamergate stuff. Um, he went on there and was saying like you shouldn't be airing this stuff up Hey, what's up, Sons of Liberty? He was basically saying you shouldn't be airing out your personal drama in public because when you do that, and most of your fans just like they literally just follow you for the drama, they're just gonna sit around and talk shit. What's up, Victor? What's up, Bruno? Thank you for keeping up our movement and its image, allowing us to be more extreme. I don't know. I don't support extremism. Um, yeah, so there's been this fight between them, and yeah, it just seems like all the fights I've ever seen in the E-celeb stuff with the people I know, it's always caused by everyone airing out their personal drama, and they force people to choose sides. That's the main thing. Someone gets triggered, they get on a Periscope or something, they talk shit about so and so, and they have an audience, and then so and so has an audience, and then their viewers and everyone start fighting. People start losing subs and unsubbing, and Peasy, Warskii wants a show to be fun like the Kumite, but it isn't going to happen. They are spontaneous. You can't organize it. Yep. So I've watched some stuff done by Kronos. He's really good at cutting stuff up. And I was watching some of the stuff before I came on here. I don't know everything, but I did get educated on the topic somewhat. And they were talking to Warskii, and they said like, don't air out your personal dramas. That's what you're doing. You're going on Twitter, starting to fight with your co-host. You're coming on the show, calling out your co-host. Not a smart thing to do. Um, and yeah, there was that. And what was that point you brought up? Let me look because the stuff runs out pretty quick on here. Um, but it all started because JF flexed on Warskii, and Warskii didn't like that. Um, oh, is this muted? Oh, it's not. Okay. Da, 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 da. Oh, Warskii wants the show to be fun. Yeah. So a lot of this is just over the feels. Yeah, this is all over the feels. And Warskii was saying like he doesn't feel like his show is his anymore. I don't understand it though, because he only does the show once, he rarely does the show. And it's like no one's holding you back from doing whatever content you want to do. If you want to have your debates and your blood sports, and then you want to separately have like the Andy Warskii talk show where you just bullshit, that's fine. But at the same time, it doesn't make any sense because it's like if you want to make your own content, that's fine. But why are you promoting the morning kumite? So it's like if you just want to have fun and you have a job on the side, then yeah, just go on the morning kumite to do whatever the hell you want, and then host the blood sports stuff. But I don't understand. Like he's on the blood sports and he's saying um, that he doesn't. He's like I don't have fun on here and I'm not very involved. And it's like you're the host of the show and you're having two people fight each other. Like you're the ref and two people are fighting each other essentially, and you're mad that you didn't get a punch in. Like I don't get that. Like, did you think you were gonna jump in on the JF and J theism debate at some point? Like, why would you jump in? It's like it's JF versus J. Like you could jump in and moderate, but you're not there to act. It's not about Andy Warskii. The whole point of that is JF versus J. And you're surprised that it's like not about you all of a sudden. It's like no, it's a lot of people like myself. I think he's a nice guy, but I'm sub not for him. I'm sub because I want to see the debates. I want to hear the ideas. I want to hear the drama. I think that all the people I think are on there for that reason. I don't think people are necessarily there for like if he did a live stream with just him, it would be obviously far, far smaller than if it was like another Sargon versus Richard. And that's because people like drama, people like the conversations. They go there just to watch Richard or Sargon. Some people just go there for the drama. That's like the Mr. Medicare types. But you have to realize, and you can't be surprised if you go and do your own thing, and all of a sudden no one's coming over. That's what happens. People they go viral, and then they try to do stuff, and then they try to like let's say Michael Jordan. He was really good and very popular in basketball. Tried to do baseball, and then it was just he wasn't very good at it. People didn't really like it, so then he went back to what he was good at. Something that like Akira Toriyama, the creator of Dragon Ball Z, He obviously he went viral for that. Everyone loved him from Dragon Ball Z, and then he was like, "Oh, I'm gonna do what I really want to do," and then did this like shadow thing that I don't know anyone that even played these games or even bought any of these things. And then guess what? He's back to Dragon Ball Z again because that's where the money's at. It's where people know you for. Like if I tried to do my own thing, I was like, oh guys, you know what? I want to do what I really want to do. I just want to talk about like video games. I just want to play video games and like and show you guys all these things. Like you guys won't follow because we're only here for the politics. Like maybe some of you guys would follow me to like do something else because you guys are like loyal. But for the most part, you know that you guys are here for the political chats and the IRL stuff and all that kind of stuff. That's why when I'm not doing the IRL stuff, I don't get it as many viewers, and I understand because you know that's what I'm known for is the IRL stuff. Dragon Ball Z for life. Yep, yep. But I just didn't. There was some things I didn't like. I heard that he was getting angry at, and it just didn't make sense to me. Like you're having people debate, and you're surprised at the show. Like you don't get to chime in. Like let's be honest. Like he brings in a lot of high IQ Nimbas in here, and he's a nice guy. He's an entertainer. He's a comedian, but he's not the guy that's gonna, you know, that's gonna formulate like that's not. He's there for the comedy. You know, he's not the high IQ guy. That's fine. You know, you can't pick or choose if you're high IQ. You just are. You are. And JF is there for that. That's why it was so great. JF was a high IQ guy. JF Andy was like you know the comic relief. Dragon Ball Z went down after the Cell Saga? No, no, I don't think so. Um, Majin Buu Saga was a little weird, a little kooky for sure. Like the villain wasn't like as great as the Cell character. Because Cell, for instance, I really liked that saga because they had to chase him down and they were trying to find him. And it's like they thought they were going to fight the androids, all these big, scary androids, and they were getting prepared for years. And then they fight them, they get completely stomped and there's all these weird things going on, like Goku's put gets put down, and then the androids didn't behave the way they were supposed to. They were supposed to kill everyone, but they didn't. Then you have this green guy going around who's got to hunt them down, and there's just all this weirdness was going on, and it just kind of had a leading point. Whereas like the Majin Buu saga was like very weird. It was good though. It was good though. He's a globalist. Who's a globalist? If I don't have my phone, like I'm just here. I'm just seeing what you guys say. But I thought that was ridiculous. He's like, oh, well, this is my show, and then in these debates that's about other people talking about other ideas. I'm surprised that I'm not really in the conversation. It's like who really wants to hear Andy Warski's thoughts on theism or race realism or any of that stuff? Like because it's not he's the host, he's the moderator, he's not the point of that conversation, and he only does it like once or twice a week, so you could do your own side thing. I mean he just created a new channel that would be him doing whatever he wants, so I don't really see why he's like so angry. But oh well, you know what, I think the main contention here is that him and JF were arguing. JF flexed on him and he didn't like that, and so that's where the fighting is, because JF showed what his real thoughts about Warskii was. He showed his true side for like a second, and then he tried to play it off as a joke. But everyone does that. We all know that. Everyone on the right, we always say fucked up shit, and then you like, oh, say it's a joke. And most of the time it is a joke, but there's some times where it's not a joke. I'm a huge Tian Shinhan fan. Yeah, he was like my favorite character in Dragon Ball, but you know he's kind of garbage now. Jeez, Bruno. Man, you guys are worse than me when it comes to that guy. Smash the like button. The main thing you have to smash is smash the sub button and smash the bell, because I have like over 2,000 subs and then like I only get like barely 20 people watching. And that's due to either being shadow banned or that's being due to uh, you know, people not hitting the bell. I would share this on Gab if I wasn't blocked. What do you mean? You're blocked on Gab? Okay, you have to explain yourself, Patriot God. I get so thirsty whenever I'm doing these shows. It's like look at this. I just filled this too. JF is cool. Yeah, JF is like he for me when I started watching those shows, I was like, oh, this is cool. Like Richard Spencer's doing his like evil James Bond thing on Sargon, and he's getting him triggered, and Sargon's acting like a retard. Like that's fun. And then I got introduced into JF in there, who was really able to slowly, rationally, and calmly put out arguments that make sense. He wasn't a spurg. He was also very credentialed and very intelligent. He put the information out there in a very calm and rational way, and he had those credentials too. So it's you can't just wiggle your way out of what he's saying. And I was like, yeah, I mean, those are like what his beliefs are. Is basically what I've had for a long time. So I was like, fuck, like this guy, like we kind of think the same way. This is awesome. Like um, we're pro our country and our people and everything, but at the same time, we're still okay with being degenerates to a degree. And he only talks about trannies. Yeah, I know it's not a big spat or anything, and that's a good thing. I don't want the blood sports to end, but I just saw some weird stuff that Warskii was talking about, and I just was like, "What the hell are you talking about?" And then he was saying like JF is taking over his show, and I'm like, "What are you talking about? Like, how is he taking over your show? Like, this is your show." And then but at the same time, he was saying JF would give him ideas to do things, and he would say no. So it's like if you say no to him on things, then how's he taking over your show? Like if he did a show that he wanted to do without your approval, then I'd say okay, he's starting to take over. Yeah, I did. I saw a lot of inconsistencies there. Didn't really make sense. Title's a little clickbaity, but that's what you got to do nowadays. It was fun on Discord. Yeah, if you guys want me to interact with you guys, just tag me on stuff in the Discord because usually I'm busy with school at Harvard or helping out campaigns, trying to find out when protests are. Then I'll have to have some time to visit my family every now and then. It's kind of what it is what it is. The whole thing could be an elaborate PR stunt. Oh shit. Sifu has the aluminum hat on right now. David is down to earth. Uh, eh, I'm not. You know, I'm not a Spurg. There's a lot of people that Spurg, and I'm just like, you know, that's not how you go about things. Maybe it's because I did a report on Stoicism, and so that makes me a little bit more down to earth, even more. I think. Problematic white knight. What's up? Warskii goes to LA, sees the degeneracy, and gets influenced by it. Well, from what I've heard, he's like okay with multiculturalism because he's it's not really affecting him yet, and he's okay with being a degenerate. William Montberg, what's up? Defines Berg. Someone that probably fed posts, and by that, that's usually someone saying that they want to like blow people up or shoot people. Um, Also, if they don't say that, then it could also be so sometimes it's something you say, and sometimes it's also your behavior, and sometimes it's interconjected. So it's like it could be you say something crazy, but maybe you don't say it in a crazy way. But then sometimes you say something in a crazy way, but maybe it's not that crazy. And sometimes you say it in a crazy way, and also it's pretty crazy. So that's what I would define as spurg. Um, so it's like in all caps you say you're gonna go genocide a whole people, but you could also like say something in all caps that's not crazy. It's just kind of like a crazy person. They just say some shit. It's like, oh damn, this guy's spurging hard. Yeah, basically bad optics. Also, well, it's not even bad optics, and it's low IQ. Like you're gonna act crazy, and you're surprised that people don't want to be your friends, and then also people are getting scared away from what you're saying too. It's just low IQ behavior. I don't support any of that. Fight back against 1984. I don't know. It's tough to say. It's tough to say about the 1984 stuff because, like, obviously we don't have control over the culture, but at the same time, like, what was it called? What do they call it? The like paragame or something? Basically, things are starting to shift. Things are starting to shift. So it's like, yeah, we're getting hit with some crazy stuff, but it's mainly by like the older people, sort of. The older people, and then the last is like millennials. The Gen Z kids are starting to wake up. They're starting to turn around. Some millennials are starting to turn around. We're really starting to see things for the way things are. Like for instance, people like the black pill and talk about the mass migration and all this, but at the same time, that speakers corner event by Tommy Robinson that was done. That was a lot of people. Yeah, there you go, Ken. But yeah, there's a speakers corner. They had a lot of people there, and a lot of people supporting free speech. Now the only thing is you have to organize these people and make sure that they understand how to make change. You have to fight in every single way possible. Got to do it in a political way. You have to organize. You have to show up places. You got to get groups together, do IRL stuff. Crisis example of high IQ, good optics. Yeah. I mean, he preached good stuff for sure. Um, but problem is, it's like the people that worship him. Like, there's a lot of inconsistencies with those people. Like, for example, I don't think anyone in this chat is pro the current pope, right? So he's supposed to be the speaker to God himself, and yet this guy is basically like he's basically Bernie Sanders, I would say. Oh, Ohio Norseman is not holding back right now. Yeah, it kind of yeah, it sucks what happened to Jesus, but at the same time, according to the story, he saw it coming, so it's meant to happen. Yeah, I know we have pagans in here, we have Christians in here. Either way, we're all on the same side. Um, Pope is a traitor. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Now we're getting into some other areas. I feel like every time we talk about religion, the fight between pagans and Christians happen. So maybe we should try to like get off this topic. The Pope participates in pedal gangbangs. Well, I wouldn't be surprised. What's your opinion of IE? They seem like they have good optics. I have nothing against them. Yeah, I think they're good optics. They have clean cut guys. They put people in front of the cameras that are clean cut guys that are well spoken, that understand what they're saying. They're tough guys that are willing to fight for it. You see that at Berkeley with Nathan Domingo punching out that chick. At one point, I didn't even know, but I was standing right next to him at one point when we were close to the street, like right before what was it when we did the charge. It was like I was looking and I looked at him and I had to look again. I was like, wait a second, I've seen this guy on like a Young Turks video where they were asking him about white nationalism, because when I heard that the alt right actually meant the Richard Spencer stuff and not the Milo stuff, unlike most people, I didn't just accept the bullshit. I did some research on them, and so when I was at the rally, I recognized them, and it was interesting because they didn't do a full like video on him. They just showed his face, and so I looked, and he was like this tall, but obviously he can pack a punch. So that's really all that matters. The Antifa porn chick, yeah, I remember seeing that at a distance. Like you see, like I looked like when the charge happened, I was kind of a little bit in the back because I was trying to help people. Like the guy got hit over the head and blood was squirting out of his head because of the bike lock attacker, and so I had to pepper spray the whole crowd. And I like grabbed him and like pulled him back, and I was calling for medics. And there's like a video on Shuttershot's channel, and I took him over to the medics, and they were trying to help him. And then I just ran back in there, and then that's kind of when the charge happened. So I was trying to run in there to try to like make sure our people weren't getting beaten up or nothing in the chaos to jump in and help. And I saw off in the distance there's that video of that guy, that alt right guy. What's his name? Bass Ric Flair. And he was in there just like smashing that dude. And I saw Bass Stickman smashing a couple guys. It was like a group of them just smashing them. And I was like, I want to run over there, but at the same time, like I don't want to run in there and get friendly fired or nothing. So then I kept running forward, and I was looking around, and I didn't see any of our people getting beat up. No conservatives were getting beat up. Like if there was like some guy with a USA flag getting like stomped out by three of them, I would have ran in there and just I would have ran there. But I didn't see any of that. They were on the run. Um, we weren't. And then I was going to run in more, but a lot of the conservatives, like they were only fighting for self-defense. They weren't really like fighting to like get at these guys. So like I didn't want to end up being like the only guy out there against a bunch. And then I saw one of my friends, and he got pepper sprayed. Okay, so I actually saw two people that got pepper sprayed. Um, I saw Shuttershot 45 during the charge, and I was kind of running down, looking around, like making sure I don't get tagged in the back of the head or nothing. I see him running all the way down the street, just and apparently he got hit with bear spray. It was funny. It was kind of like it was like if you'd ever thought of some chaos happening, and you know how like in those movies you look off in the distance and there's some guy just like on fire, just like running down the street. It looked like that. It looked like he was on fire. It didn't hurt his. No permanent damage, so we're allowed to laugh here. No permanent damage. There's permanent damage if you fucked up, but he's fine. Vikings death. What's up? Um, he was running down the street like on fire, and I don't know. For some reason, it didn't go through my head to go over there and help him. I just saw him, and I just was looking, and I just kept running down the street, and then I saw my friend Rob back when he was my friend, and he got pepper sprayed. So then I wanted to jump in there, but I was like, oh, my buddy can't even see. So I was like, hey Rob, it's me, because he couldn't see nothing. He's like, oh hey Dave, and I like, grabbed him, and I was like, I had to go take him to the medics. I was calling for milk and all that, so I took him over there. There's video of that I think on this channel. I'm not just talking out my ass. I know a lot of people like to pretend I got a couple hits in there at Berkeley. It's like, all right, where's the video? So someone might have it, or it might be out there somewhere. No. So I actually did more like if you look at it from like a World of Warcraft perspective, I was more so like a healer than a tank or anything like that. Um, but yeah, there was a video there that I collected that I wanted to make sure in case people were to ever say like, oh, you didn't do shit there, you're just talking out your ass. Nope, there's video right there. Who's Robert? Rob. It's a guy named Rob Pete. We're not really buddy anymore, but he might think differently. But that's what happens. A lot of these people, they like to punch right, and then the minute you see them at an event, all of a sudden they're like your best friend. It's like I'm not down for that shit. That Hillary Clinton like fake. I say one thing, like I'll talk shit right here, but then when I see you face to face, I'm like, hey buddy, it's like no hard feelings, man. I'm just trolling. I'm just shit posting. Fuck you, man. I'm not down for that. Sometimes if it's like some bullshit, then whatever. I don't get triggered over nothing. But if it's some serious stuff, like you challenge people to fights, you're calling someone like faggots constantly, you're making live streams about it, there's gonna be a problem at some point. Yeah, but I did more healing work than I did any warrior stuff. That's for sure. I just wanted to go there because I saw videos of conservatives getting stomped out. Like the last two times Milo went there, like you just see conservatives getting pepper spray in the face out of nowhere, getting just beat up. I saw a video where like one guy was just getting hit with sticks and he was just unconscious. the inauguration I really wanted to go to, and I saw people getting punched out and just attacked. I was like, fuck that shit, you know? Has Emily ever gotten into any fights at the rallies? Uh, at the white privilege seminar, the second one, this lady was like putting her hands on me, and I was like, "Hey, back off!" And she like put her hand, like she like held me when I tried to pull away. So then I went boom like that right to her face. I was like, "Yeah, get off me!" And then I pulled back, and then after she got hit, she still kept coming after me. And then a bunch of the dudes tried to jump in because once a fight breaks out, everyone thinks it's like totally illegal to start throwing haymakers. And so they started jumping in, and I had to like basically I had to move. I knew I had to like avoid some hands, so I had to like bob and weave and then move out. But while I did that, Emily like kind of grabbed her and like kind of like was like, "Hey, like get off," kind of thing. But she's never gotten into any fights, and she won't ever. If someone ever like you know even another chick, if another chick like fucking spit on her, I'd fucking knock her teeth out straight up. I'm all about equality, straight up. You want that equality, you're gonna get all of it. You're not just gonna get you're not just gonna get the good parts. You're gonna get all the bad stuff too. Yeah, Emily. Yeah, women aren't here to fight. That's not their purpose. That's not what they do. If they were meant to fight, they would have bodies similar to men that were more muscles, uh, harder bone density, things like that, or even faster reaction times. From what I've heard from Joe Rogan, he was saying that women have even slower reactions. That's why when you watch the UFC and things like that, they're all just they all they don't have head movement. They're just kind of like they just kind of do this. The women, no matter how good they are, they stand in front of each other and they'll just do all these like memorized combos. There's they just go 1-2 kick, 1-2 kick, like it's just very memorized stuff. There's no creativity behind it. Gay people are gay. Wow, Victor Rossi with the high IQ post today. We should protect them from catcalls. I don't think so. When it comes to mental stuff, they need to hold their own. I have seen some 350 pounders that can take out a man. Well, it sounds that's. I mean, is that before or after the cupcakes take them out? Heart disease and all that stuff. It's like to a 350-pound guy, it's like I might lose the battle, but I'm gonna win the war. UFC women's divisions have great fights. Time to time, I guess, but I don't know. It's kind of like playing a Tomb Raider game. If the main character isn't a guy, I've just never felt comfortable with playing it. Like it's very rare for me to do that. Looks like we might lose our guns. No, I don't think so. Bro stuff, what's up? No, I don't think we'll lose our guns. Even the people, they know they can't just take them, right? So they know they have to do inch by inch by inch. This is what a lot of the people on the right don't get. They try to push all this like extremist shit, and it's like even if you wanted to do that, you're not going to push. You're not going to go from where we're at to over there in one jump. You have to inch it, and on the left, they understand that they're really good at it. They're really, really good at it. That's what they do. They've been doing it forever. With every single thing they've ever pushed, they always push. All right, let's push something that makes sense. And it's something that the right I see have been doing. Like they're like, we're not gonna push any like obviously white power shit, but we're gonna push like it's okay to be white. And then once that's normal, then you push to the next one. Then you normalize that, and then you push to the next one. And that's what the left did with like gay marriage, for example. They're like, all right, let's push the gays. They get hit with all this shit hit, but then they stood their ground, and then they pulled all the strings that they could. Like it didn't get passed in California. This is fucking blue California didn't pass gay marriage, but it got passed by Supreme Court, right? So by their people. And then now here, if someone were to go up to you and say, "Oh, I don't support gay marriage," now you'd be attacked by people. So that's why I always say like people's opinions don't mean shit because people's opinions will flip and change within time. It'll just flip to whatever the majority says or whatever the culture says. Just look at what was it like Iran when the Shah was in charge? It was like liberal there, and then once he got taken out, now they're like super super trad. Super duper. So and you could say, "Oh, there's a universal right and wrong." I'm like, look at history. Look at different countries and cultures. Just look at them today, and then look at history. It's constantly flip flopping. Different ideals, different things are okay. Some things are good. Some things are bad. It's all over the place. I mean, if you could push people to be totally okay with like trannies, for example, you can. I mean, they're inching their way ever so closely to pedophilia, and in some ways, I think they already added the P onto the whole thing. So that's the end goal. There's always an end goal. That's their end goal. They're inching the way to it. Gay marriage, and some conservatives said, "Look, that's what you're doing. You're inching your way to like next. If we pass this, next thing you know, it's like bestiality, which obviously." I think they'll have articles if you look into it with some SJWs defending it, but that's not the end goal. That's not where they're pushing. But I think it was like, yeah, if we pass the gay stuff, watch. Next thing you know, we're gonna be talking about trannies, and then the left was like, oh, we're not gonna do that. Trannies, oh my god, it's such a joke. Like, no, we're just gonna pass this, and then we're done. And then here we are. Boys are allowed to go into locker rooms with girls, otherwise you're transphobic. Words have more power than anything. And look, I agree with free speech, but if we were to really look at it, guys, press one if you support this. Uh, if we were to like ban, let's just say transphobia, racist, anti-Semitic, if we were to ban all of these words that just cuck people, I think the world would be a fairly way better place. I mean, that's what Poland did, right? They banned the whole Holocaust thing. They just don't even want to talk about it. They're like, no more blaming anyone. We're just done with that shit. What do you guys think? Like we're all pro free speech, but if we had to not be, I think that would be good stuff. Islamophobia, all those phobic craps, the racism, all that stuff, just ban all that. You're not allowed to say that. If you say that, hate speech. Maybe that's the way to go about things. Like, look, if we're not going to change things, might as well just configure it in the way we want. Press two if you don't support that idea. Nah, we, nah, I disagree. We need to talk about this stuff. Oh my God, David Davidson, full power. Oh, I'm not for banning stuff, but I'm just saying if I was to ban stuff, those would be the words up there. The left knows how to use language. Yeah, and they know how to make up words. That's what you mean by that. They know how to make shit up. You know, systematic. I am pro. Do whatever you want to do as long as you aren't harming anyone else in the process. Yeah, and that's a very like libertarian view. Um, what are we voting on? I was gone for a minute. Oh, I was just saying that if look, we're all pro free speech here, but if you had to ban words, what words would you ban? And I was saying I would ban like, any of these slurs like anti-Semitic, Islamophobic, transphobic, racist, all that stuff. I ban all that stuff because it fucking cucks people and it's terrible for society. Like you look right now in Europe and people they don't want to disclose information on their crime statistics because they're afraid of being called racist. They said, "Oh, well this will make people racist." So we want people we care more about feelings than we do with people's actual lives. And that's because of these slurs. So if you get rid of these slurs, kind of like what Poland did with saying that you're not allowed to like accuse anyone of like the Holocaust or whatever that was, then they can't play these games anymore because that's their power. Their power is in words, their power is in these slurs. That's all they have is these slurs. Cops are afraid to do their jobs because they know if something were to go down, they'll be criticized and called these things. So it's actually getting people killed. It's getting people killed. It's the reason for mass migration because when people are saying, "Oh, well, we want to go to your country because it's all like perfect and nice, and we want to be a part of that," and you're like, "No, we don't want that," and then they'll call you a slur. They'll say, "Oh, well, you're racist. Oh, well, you're this, you're that." You know, of course, you would destroy that if these people in positions of power weren't corrupt, they weren't globalists, and they were like, "Well, fuck you," and that'd be the end of it, right? But well, it comes down to: do you think these people are globalists, or do you think that they're just idiots? And so, I mean, that's like Merkel, for example, she had a quote saying that she thought at some point they would just leave, right? And that comes from like a perspective of a politician that's an idiot, that's incompetent, not someone that is actually um, not someone that's like a globalist that's trying to get rid of their people for the votes. Um, so comes down to what you think on that topic right there. I have a great view. Had to feed the people downstairs, they're all tied up and stuff, but yeah, gotta do what you gotta do for to make a good stream. Political correctness is fascism disguised as manners. George Carlin. Uh, yeah. I'm not an expert on fascism. All I know about fascism is that I guess it's basically like being a king, right? So it's like, I mean, does anyone know the difference between? And I know Broseph is a high IQ Nimba. Does he know the difference between monarchy and fascism? Because, like, would you consider Rome's emperors, like Caligula, to be like fascist technically? Will, I completely agree with that. We need our own terminology, which we're good at. A lot of people on the right have been coming up with things like soy boy, that it's okay to be white stuff, autistic, the Kekistan, all that stuff. So we're pretty good at it too. Mike Farron, fascism is a religion of the state. Well, you could say that about communism too. Um, yeah, they've been cucked by one word. Yep. American Rebel knows what's up. Sodom. Okay, I'm just gonna call you sad. What's up? I think I stumbled into the wrong party. Oh, damn it. I didn't see what Broseph said. So difficult to read all you guys' stuff. Oh, is Andy Warskii live right now? And it says Andy versus Warskii. I mean, the whole thing is literally like Andy will say, "Look, you said this that made me sad. I felt like a cuck," and then JF is gonna say, "Look, it was a joke, which it wasn't, but if it wasn't, I'm just gonna apologize." Fascism is about unity through brotherhood. Well, I always like I've heard it as like fascism is basically the government controlling everything completely. Like it's not just regulated; it's completely like controlled. So it would be similar to like yeah, it would be you know, like kind of like a monarchy, like a king controls everything, tells everyone what to do. Uh, like communism is the regulation of businesses, whereas like fascism is like completely like, taking over everything. And I think what you guys are talking about is the aspects of fascism, like well Mussolini is the only when they talk about fascism they're talking about Mussolini in Italy in World War II, and they say well he wanted to make Italy great again. I didn't haven't done a lot of research on it, but I'm assuming he thought that Italy I think Italy was it being taken over by communists? Like that was most of it. Most of the world was being taken over by communists, and people went in different directions in how to fight that. That was kind of like World War II. Like the communists were trying to take over Germany. Hitler and the brown shirts fought off the communists and made them into the National Socialists. And then Italy, because I know Mussolini was a communist, so he somehow went from a communist to a fascist. But in the eyes of a big government person or a conservative, it's not really that much of a big difference because it just went from big government from like here's like I don't know conservative and it's like classical liberal and then it's then probably well like communist no classical liberal socialist communist then fascist just in the government sense so he I mean I he just he went from regulating things to controlling stuff. I think that's where everyone gets angry though. Like the alt right gets angry at conservatives when they talk because conservatives are talking about it on a government perspective. Like all they see is you're either left or right based off how much government you want. Whereas like the all right people, they're talking more about like traditionalism type stuff. Yeah, so can't look at things in a classic left or right paradigm. Yeah, so I see that. I see that, but most people don't. They don't see it that way. They see it as the classic left or right is based off how much government you want, whereas you guys are saying it's more so based off of um, like degeneracy or something, right? Which side supports more degeneracy? Well, Mike, I think every country, if you look in the history of the world, every single country was basically very pro its own people, pro its own religion, pro all of that stuff. The only times that they weren't was when someone took them over. Just look at Egypt when Rome took them over, and well, the good thing about Rome was they were basically like kind of like civic nationalists, so they were okay with bringing in foreign gods and things like that. Which the more differences you bring into your culture, I think the more it destabilizes. Just because if you want it to be united, it has to be united on all fronts. It has to be united on like a religious level, on like a state level, uh, probably on like a homogenous level. Yeah, it has to be united as possible. I know when the Greeks were trying to fight off the Dorians, they were very separated in a lot of ways, but because of the Dorians, they were able to unite through just their culture, through a language. They were able to develop a language that united all of them. They were the same genetic people basically, and they were able to unite through similarities. You can't unite through differences. Differences is what breaks people up, right? You see, like getting back to the Andy Warskii stuff, Andy Warskii and JF agree very much on a lot of things, but because they have certain differences, those differences are just in the way the show should go, even if they're small, is what's breaking them apart. And it's the differences that does it. Now, Now, do differences necessarily destroy everything? No, of course not. But you want more similarities than differences. Even Tucker Carlson's been straight up with that. Ethno nationalism. Uh, I would say that, for instance, if you look into people that are debating Ben Shapiro all the time, they'll like the socialist ones, they'll go, oh well, look at Sweden or look at Finland or look at these all these Nordic countries. And it's like, wait a second, aren't you? Because usually socialists are also pro multiculturalism and all that stuff. It's like, wait a second, if you think diversity is a strength, and you're naming your perfect society to be this like basically ethno state, doesn't that seem a little weird? I think that was one of the problems, honestly, with the founding fathers, because I always supported like the separation of church and state, but I'm also not an idiot, and I've seen the differences like if you allow different religions into your country, you're going to have differences, and you see that everyone's going to go to their different little churches or their mosques, their temples, all that stuff, and all a majority of them, you're way smarter than the average young person. I don't know. Maybe it's because I'm open minded and I look at both sides. I think. I don't think I'm really. I don't know. I don't think I'm that smart. Like I just talk more on like a philosophy level than I do like if you were to ask me what's going on with the Trump administration or you were to like really go into like economics, like I can't really handle all that stuff. I only got into this whole thing because of how crazy politics has gotten. It's gotten to the point where it's like if and I use this example a lot in case any of you guys are getting bothered by it because I know Emily gets bothered by my usuals, but if you have a little boy, and I think if you live in the UK, maybe even they're leading that way here now. If you have a little boy and he's your son, and one day he says in class that he likes the color pink, and then you have some SJW green haired teacher goes and tells like the authorities, and all of a sudden they're like, oh, the little boy said he likes the color pink, therefore that must mean he wants to be a woman now because pink is the color of women. Um, and then all of a sudden they start giving them estrogen and hormone therapy, and it's like, all right, this isn't like when it was talking about where taxes should be, when it was talking about uh, just little things like how many immigrants should we bring in? Should we bring in 1 million or should we bring in 100,000? Like that kind of stuff. Like I was like, let the experts deal with that kind of stuff. But now it's gotten bizarre. Now you have so-called experts that are totally in favor of crazy things. And it's like if you don't stand up and this whole place falls apart and it gets destroyed, like when Rome fell, like what are you going to tell your kids? You're like, oh well, I'm a conservative and all that, but when all this crazy shit went on, I just went like this, and I just went to work. I just went to work. I didn't donate to anybody. I didn't share any videos. I didn't go outside and protest these people trying to take away my guns. I just went like this, and I just went to work like a good little right wing person. Hey, if you could tell that to your kid's face, if you can say that right to him, then that's fine. But I can't. I'm not even that political. I just knew deep down I had to stand up for what I believed in. And when people are going around kicking the shit out of people for for uh, for standing up for what's right, like you had like degenerate, like nasty, fucking disgusting people attacking good people, and that's why I was like, I have to go up to Berkeley, and I have to protect people. I have to, I had to. I couldn't do it. And then I'm here somehow. It's like I'm not some like fame whore. I'm not like into this stuff. I don't know if I'll have a normal job at the end of it, but I'm sure trying. And I said, you know what? I'm having some fun while we're doing this. So why not? But it doesn't affect you directly, then why worry what other people are choosing to do? I think you're replying to someone else, right? Yeah, if you guys want me to ask a question, tag me in it so I know for sure that you want me to answer it and you're not replying to someone else in the comments, because sometimes I get confused on that. It's tough to tell. Yeah, but oh yeah, open borders. That's another one. Open borders, turning little boys into little girls and vice versa. Bringing in mass migration of people from different countries that are from war zones, that believe that have low IQs because incest is very rampant in the Middle East, and they're going to come here and they completely believe their religion full heartedly. Just this whole denying reality shit. Like there was these Bible thumpers, and they were debating like a Muslim, and they said, "Oh, you're acting a little crazy. What are you, a radical extremist?" And everyone got offended. I'm like, "What the fuck are you talking about? Like I thought you guys were pro homosexuals and all that, and you had like a Muslim guy run into a bar and kill 50 of you, and you didn't say shit. It came down to who do you support more, homos or Muslims, and it came down to Muslims, and then they just kept the whole thing quiet. I remember Gavin and Milo had to go in front of the place that got shot up and say something, and even that didn't really get any coverage. And then we found out today that Omar Mateen guy, his dad was actually an FBI informant. So that's a whole weird thing. If you're not woke, you're a Nazi. Well, I've always wondered why that was always such. That's the biggest slur they can say. I think them calling you Nazis technically worse than like white supremacists. And it's never made sense to me, because if you actually like look at like the National Socialists, it's like if they were like clean cut people. I don't really know all their beliefs. I mean, they had some socialism, but most of the Nordic countries have socialism. Um, Obviously they believed in eugenics, but then a lot of people believe in eugenics. Like, are you for siblings having children? Oh, you're not, so you're for eugenics in a way, right? Um, Obviously they got into the big war. I'm against all those wars. If Germany wanted to be a national socialist, let them be national socialists. They don't need to get into a war with people. If their ideas are bad, the country will implode on itself. That's why communism always implodes on itself. It's not a good idea. It destroys itself. All bad ideas lead to destruction. Let them destroy themselves. Um, you know, uh, that's my take mainly. Kind of conservative is kind of racist, and is kind of racist is kind of Nazi. That's a mouthful right there. That's something. Yeah, it's like, oh, because they're like, oh, you're right wing. Oh shoot, doors. I didn't close that door so the wind hit it. Uh, but it's like, what are you? If you're like, if you believe in like, let's say you're like pro eugenics, or you're like, are you a Nazi if you're like pro eugenics, or if you're like, oh, you're vegetarian, or if you're like pro animal rights? Those are all technically things that Hitler liked. So, well, it doesn't make sense. Like, these people don't actually believe what they're saying. That's why when they call someone like a name and then they say some shit that's like related to that, they get surprised because they don't actually believe it. Most of these people don't even believe this shit. They're just paid off. Just go on Craigslist. Like, you see all these ads for to get paid like 20, $30. And it's like, oh, come to this rally, hold this shit, just chant. And then you get paid. And then you go to the rallies and you see these people and they're just looking at their phones. It's like, really? It's like, if you're taking time out of your day to come down here, you think you'd be passionate about it. It's a left wing and a right wing. Yeah, there's always going to be a left wing and right wing, no matter what. Because it comes down to everyone does eugenics. Yep, everyone does eugenics. If you're against siblings having sex, it's because you're talking about eugenics here. If you're against disabled people having children that might be more disabled, there's a higher chance that they will be disabled as well. Then you're pro eugenics. You look at the groups that are basically pro eugenics in their behavior, and you see that they're the ones doing the best out of everyone in society. You know, you see, I know with a lot of Asian cultures, they make sure that it all stays very Asian. They make sure that their kids go out with other Asian kids. Uh, I've dated Asian girls in the past, and or at least saw them, I should say, and they were very upfront. They're like, hey, I like you and all that kind of stuff, but at the end of the day, I can't take you back to my parents because I'm supposed to be going out with an Asian guy. And so I totally got it. I'm like, hey, that's your culture. That's what you think. It's fine. Of course, if you were white, that'd be racist. Time to burn down your house, kill your family. So that's racist. Everyone else can say that, not you though. Not the Europeans though. That's something. Um, I don't know if the same could be said that much of the Latin cultures because I used to have a lot of Hispanic friends. I never really talked to them about that stuff. But I do know that in a recent report, a lot of the Mexico is getting rid of all the Haitians they have. So, and if you're not Mexican, if you're not a Mexican citizen, you're not to have land. And I'm sure that they make sure that to be a Mexican citizen, you have to be Mexican, right? You probably have to live there, be born there. Well, actually, it's not be born there. If you're like an African and you go to if you're African and you go to Mexico and you try to do an anchor baby, they won't take it. Like, they're not stupid. Like, the only people that are stupid or foolish, I should say, are Europeans. They're the only ones that allow this garbage. Because the minute you try to act smart, you try to say, hey, let's not be for that, and then someone says, wait a second, that's racist, and then you go, oh, I have to virtue signal and appease you now. Then you give up money and stuff. The Chinese government doing genetic research to make the super Chinese race. Yep. You know, everyone wants to make their people bigger, stronger, and smarter, but you talk about those ideas in anywhere that's Europe, America. Oh, that's racist. Never mind. Can't do that. Got to be having you got to pop out a kid with some random person, and then out of wedlock. Got to leave the wife because that's how you make the master race. That's funny. Yeah, because if you're against having kids out of wedlock, it's kind of like eugenics to a degree because studies show that the kid comes out better when he has both parents there and that both parents have children when they can economically do it. And so it's like eugenics because you're trying to create a better kid. So you have more time there for them. It's not on a genetic level, but it's still you're trying to create a better kid than a worse one. If you're for feeding your kids good food instead of bad foods, that's like a form of eugenics right there because you want your kid to be healthier, right? You don't want to just feed them nothing. It's just weird. People say one thing, do something else. That's what I have a problem with mainly. Like, oh, you're calling people Nazis, but then you're pro animal rights. What are you talking about? Who do you think made those rights? Who do you think came up with that concept? You know, talk shit about the National Socialists, but then all of a sudden you're like pro NASA, and it's like, who do you think created NASA? It's like you say that you don't like testing on prisoners, but then governments took all the hypothermia information that the National Socialists did. They took all that the Nazis did. They took all that information. So it's like, wait a second, if you denounce torture of like prisoners and whatever, why did you take the results of that? You know, it doesn't make any sense. It's like saying you're anti-meat, but then you go and eat the first cheeseburger you find in some meat eater's house. This doesn't make sense to me, guys. Man, a lot of people live right now. Andy's live. Broseph isn't in here for a reason because a certain someone's live. This shit is cracking me up. Good luck to y'all. Yeah, I mean we got Warskii is live. Fuentes is live. Fuentes has a solid 5 people watching. It says he'll catch up to me one day. I can't wait though, guys. Red Elephants, I've been informed. Oh, Bros is still here. Okay. You're gonna open up 2 tabs? You're gonna use that big brain for once or what? No, that's not true. Does it go live till like 8? What do you call this then? What do you call that? My dude? The ball is in your court, as they say. I know that's certain someone you're talking about. See, I forgot what I was even talking about, so I don't know. He's in a pre-show. He's not, what are you saying? He's gonna be in there until wait? What time is it over there? Because here it's like 5, so it might actually be close to 8 over there, right? Okay, I forgot about that. I keep thinking everyone lives in California. What the hell? Oh, I thought you guys were dropping links in there. Yeah, there's a lot of good streams going on right now. But yeah, I wanted to get back real quick. The Red Elephants are gonna be back, from what I've heard, April, like mid-April. And so once that happens, yeah, 3 hour difference. Yeah, once that happens, we're gonna go back to the lifestyle streams. From what I've heard, we're gonna start doing some debates. We've been wanting to do it for months now, but what can you do? Debates. I'm gonna do the lifestyle stuff, lifestyle streams. I'm gonna be the co-host on the debates. Uh, and yeah, debates is the one thing I really want to have fun because then we can finally like collaborate with people that don't live where we live. You know, I really want Broseph might not like this. We're gonna have I know Zeus won't like this. We're gonna have James Allsup on. That's someone that I definitely want to see on there. I feel like he's underutilized, so I want to see him debate some people. Yeah, there's some people out there that don't really get a lot of spotlight, and I want to, it's always the same olds, uh, and a lot of the same olds are pretty damn boring. Like we don't really want to see them. It's always the same old, like for instance on the Warskii stuff, it's always like JF versus V, or it's like Sargon will come on and he'll get stomped and it's annoying, and like Spencer, it's always the same olds. And I think there's a lot of other people out there with some ideas on stuff. You just got to talk about the right topics. You can only talk about like the ethno state and race realism for so long. It's his actions that make him look bad. We agree on most. See, I don't understand that, like his actions, but I don't know. Like I watched Fuentes' Periscope, and then I watched James Allsup's video on the whole drama, and I agree. Allsup was being lazy, and then his excuse was school, but at the same time, you don't agree to do something if you know you can't do it. So that's the one thing I would hit him on. But for the most part, like Fuentes got hit on a lot of lies, at least white lies, you could say. He was saying, "Oh, well, Allsup said or did this," knowing that there's no way for Allsup to prove that he did not say that or did not prove that. And I haven't met Fuentes. I've met Allsup in IRL, and he seemed like a really good guy. And push comes to shove. I gotta back the person that I've actually met IRL than some kid that's been basically blackballed and blacklisted by everybody in the right almost. Yeah, we'll do like another 10 minutes. I want to go. Use that door. I wanted to go longer, but there's only so much you could talk about before it starts getting boring. Also, I want to let you guys know with the channel itself. I'm gonna try to start editing videos. It's really difficult for me because I use like Windows Movie Maker, and to do that, I have to download the videos, and then my videos are really long, so that it takes like hours and hours to download them, and then on top of that, then I have to watch like a 3-hour video sometimes to edit it. Yeah, yeah. So I mean, that's the main thing. So you say something, and I didn't catch it. So let me. That situation is gay, so most people shouldn't worry about it. It's mostly like petty drama. Basically, James fans don't help him. Oh, help Fuentes? Yeah, it's kind of, I don't know. From what I heard, he was like, oh, it's about this computer. And then James was like, Fuentes is a boomer because of technology, so we left him out of the chat for that reason. And then Fuentes got all triggered because he thinks he's king or some shit. And uh, and then Fuentes' friend in IRL was like, taking James aside because he was like, dude, you're acting like a fucking spur. And then Fuentes was like, oh, everyone's betraying me. And then that was kind of the end of America First. But at the same time, I had to say, any group of right wing people, young right wing people that are trying to become e celebs, it'll always be torn apart. Just look at like Rebel, and that was adults. The Rebel got torn apart. Uh, America First, like I would always say go independent, and then if you want, have like someone on your show, but always stay independent because on the right, we're individuals, right? Um, so if you try to, if you, like this whole liberalist idea, if you try to group up a bunch of individuals in one group, and and you're not even allowed to say, hey, let's march that way, because you're like, all right, guys, we're the liberalists, and we're all individuals, right? And they're like, yay, we're all individuals, and they're like, all right, now let's march. And then everyone starts marching in every single different way because they're individuals. You can't tell them what to do. I'm an individual, right? I can march that way if I want. I can march this way if I want. I can go backwards if I want. And so by the end of it, Sargon looks behind him and there's no one there because they're all individuals. So they all went in whatever direction they want. So yeah, it's like herding cats. There you go, Mike Farron with the great example. It's the idiotic thing, and that's why the right, in a lot of ways, will always possibly lose because they can't collectivize. You can't collectivize a bunch of individuals. David could become the Keemstar of an alt-right drama alert show. I don't know who Keemstar is. I know what he looks like, but I don't know what he does. Also, I wouldn't say like this is not an alt-right show at all. This is I don't know what I'd say. This is I mean, if people want to call me all right, I guess you could, but I don't perceive myself as that. Um, as I said, mainly a libertarian across the board, nationalist as well, libertarian nationalism. That's the way I go about it. It's kind of like if you ask me on that kind of stuff, I'll just go with the same answer JF gives, basically. You can't stop people from perceiving you as something or assuming something, or you can't even give yourself a nickname, right? I don't want to do that, guys. I like drama, but I'm not going to have my whole existence based off other people's existence because that's what it is. Like those shows, like I've seen them, like they'll sit there, like Kronos, for example, he'll just kind of sit there and just chop things up. And there's like streamers that'll chop up other people's streams. And it's just like your whole existence is based off other people getting into fights. And like, I'll cover stuff because that stuff is fun, but that's not the whole point of the show, I would say. The whole point of the show uh, is just to converse with everyone and create content and hopefully red pill some people. Really, that's the main thing. Oh man, I'm getting hungry though, guys. I might have to make some of these. There's like vegan food here, so I don't know. Maybe I might eat like a plant burger. There's a lot of salsa here. All that's left is salsa and a bunch of what is that? I think whiskey or something. Let me go get it. And do not donate money and tell me to drink that because I'm not gonna drink that because drinking at this time is degenerate. Okay, guys, you can drink. I'm totally fine with drinking. Don't drink too much and don't drink early. Are my two criticisms of alcohol. Bacardi rum. Oh, this is rum. Okay. See, I've had my favorite kind of drinks is when like they do like a smoothie, then they throw alcohol in it, so then it tastes like it gives me an incentive to drink it because it tastes good, and it's like technically kind of healthy. Then you get the alcohol feeling in there, uh, but not the kind of person to know how to make any of that stuff. I don't want to throw a bunch of like fruits together and then throw a little bit of that and then it being bad. Especially it's early too, so maybe later, but not right now. So, oh, to also give you guys an update, I'm planning an IRL stream tomorrow. I don't know where we're gonna go, but there's gonna be a topic. It could be anything. And basically I'll go around and we'll talk to people. So I'll go up to people and say, hey, what's your opinion on X, Y, and Z? I could say it could be about Trump. It could be go up to people and ask them, like I did before, like, is it okay to be white? What's your opinion on that? I could ask people anything. So if you guys want, I'll do a poll on my Twitter, but I don't. You know what? We'll do it in Discord because Twitter is like I just go there to like shit on people. I don't really go on there to like do anything. Um, So if you're not in the Discord, get in there, and then we're gonna do like a poll or something on what the topic should be. And tomorrow we're gonna go out. I don't know where. We're gonna do some IRL stuff. I know you guys like that, but I got my selfie stick. I got my battery charged. I'm gonna make sure my phone's at 100%, and then we're gonna go out there tomorrow. So a lot of things coming. I'm not. This is just the beginning to everything. This is just the talk show, just to make sure I'm creating content. I know a lot of people are giving me emails, sending me messages saying like, "Hey, what the hell happened to you?" And I know a lot of people have no idea where I've been. Um, so that's the main thing. So we've got 3 more minutes until 5 o'clock. 3 more minutes, but yeah. So Red Elephant's going to come back mid-April. We're going to do debates. I'm going to go back to doing the lifestyle streams. I'll also be a co-host on the debates as well. We're going to bring on good people like Jared Taylor, James Alza. I want to start bringing on some opposition too. I want to hear from everyone. That's why I like the debate so much. I like to hear like get the best communists you have, get the best Antifa you have, get the best of all these people, and I want to hear them debate against the opposition. And that's how I learn from hearing the ideas. It's kind of like MMA, right? If you want to see what works, does MMA work or does Taekwondo work? And then you have two guys fight, and then you see what works. I mean, that's kind of how MMA was created. You have a bunch of guys from different styles fighting, and they start after winning or losing, they start adapting and starting to accumulate different things. And then now we have like the MMA. It's way better than any other thing. So if we have all these people debating their ideas, hopefully we can all learn and start to adapt better ideas on top of all these things. Get Cuck Spartan on. No, we're gonna bring on like high IQ people, or as high as they come. That guy is as low as they come. He has no arguments. He goes around calling women on our side too. Sometimes calling them dirty whores and disgusting things. And yeah, he's a disgusting person. And we're not gonna give a platform to disgusting people. It's plain and simple. I will guarantee that. That's like one of the rules is we're not bringing on disgusting people. you have to have an idea, and you have to be able to debate it. Really, HH bros. All right, they're gonna start, and we're gonna end. I think how long have we been streaming for? Let's see. Streamed about a solid hour. So what I'm planning on doing is today we did an hour. I had a good time talking to you guys, and I'm planning on doing another late one. Bring on Asian Andy. Yeah. I mean, if I guess I can message him and see if he'd be down with that. We are in contact. I met him in person at this TwitchCon. So I mean, we're not like friends or anything, or like acquaintances. Some people try to pretend like they're friends with everyone. Oh, I'm a friend with that person when you're not really. Like you met them one time and you think they're your friend now. And maybe if you talk to that person for like 2 hours, you get their phone number and stuff. Okay, I guess they're your friend. I guess, but I'm not gonna be one of those people that's gonna exaggerate my friendships with people because there's a lot of people that do that. They try to pretend like they're really tight with everybody when they're really not. Yeah, Arthur says he's wanted to debate someone on race realism, and so we're thinking about asking Nick Fuentes to see if he wanted to come on, either Nick or James, see if they wanted to debate him. Maybe Jared Taylor, possibly. Those are like the three people I'd like to hear from. Or there's some other people I've heard, like this guy named Alt Hype. He seems like a very high IQ person. Goes very into the details on data and history and all of that. So could be another person, but I'd rather have a face versus a face. You know, he doesn't show his face, so I'd like to see Fuentes versus Arthur on race realism because he was telling me that he never heard about the whole idea of what Fuentes brought up. So Fuentes wants to come on the Red Elephants when we start doing some debates to debate Arthur on race realism. That's one of the ones we've been wanting to get together, and it'll be Vincent as the host. I'll be the co-host. Arthur as a debater, and Fuentes or Alzup or Taylor. Those are like the three that I have in my mind that would be also a debater. So a lot of things in the works, a lot of things happening. Uh, we would normally be doing all this stuff if YouTube weren't acting like a whole bunch of fascists. Huh? So yeah, all that would be happening. But I was planning on doing another live stream later on today. It'll be just like this. We'll talk about stuff. I'm gonna watch all these streams, so maybe there might be something to talk about. And then tomorrow we're gonna have white guy Arthur. Yeah, Arthur Shopper. He's part of the LA for Trump and all that. Uh, and then tomorrow we're gonna do an IRL stream. I'm planning on doing it hopefully like around 4 to 5 hours, unless we have connection problems. If there's connection problems, I can't really deal with it. So that's why I'm not gonna go to any like water, any place on the edge. We're gonna try to keep it somewhere solid where there's a lot of people where we can go talk to and chill and eat and stuff. So hoping to have two other buddies. Hoping to have Zach. It's gonna show up with me for sure. Hopefully we can get Iwani to come with us too. So it'll be all three of us walking around, having a good time, asking people questions, getting some content, feeling out what people's beliefs are politically. So should be a good time. Uh, but hey, there's other live streams to watch. Just stay tuned. Join the Discord. I don't think there's any mods in here, but join the Discords if you can, and I'll let you guys know when we're gonna stream. Hopefully, we'll stream tonight. That's kind of what I'm planning for. So hopefully, I'll see you guys again later, and we'll talk about some of the other stuff that's happening today because there's a lot going on. But until then, keep on the manga train and stay white, everybody.